and welcome to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. It's that time of the season again, chaps. The moment where we put our reputations on the line and make predictions that will probably come back to haunt us, which was definitely the case last season. Like we've done before, we're going to go through each Premier League club and place them into one of a number of characters. Champions League places, Europe, mid-table, relegation battle, or relegated. You ready for this? We're all around the world here. Micah, you're in Barbados. Alan, you're in Loch Lomond?
Scotland, Loch Lomond, yeah.
Another little golf trip.
Wonderful Loch Lomond.
I'm in Mallorca for a wedding, which I'm going to later this afternoon. So let's get cracking. And we start with AFC Bournemouth. They've lost a few players, haven't they? Finished 9th last year. Clive at the top scorer with 12. They've bought in Petrovic from Chelsea and Adrian Truffer, which is Kirkes' replacement. He's one of the players that's gone, of course, along with Huijsen, Jadon Anthony and Zabani as well. Most of their defence has gone. A lower position, do we think, this season?
I think so. I still think they'll be in and around mid-table, but I've got them just in the bottom half, maybe 11th or 12th, something like that.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that, just because I think the manager's so good. And in terms of the way he wants to play, I had them getting relegated last season, didn't I? Like an idiot. So I'm staying away from that this season.
I think they'll probably want you to tip them for relegation.
They've still got quality in there, but like you said, I think Huijsen's and Zabani, if they go, that's going to be huge for them.
To lose that many players out of the defence, I think it's a big ask for guys to come in and replace those and do better than they did last season. So yeah, that's why I've got them just below mid-table.
They might venture slightly into a relegation battle, but I don't think so. I think they're so well coached. He's really good. And I think the same. I think somewhere just below halfway. Okay, let's move on to Arsenal. They have made a move finally, obviously, and in terms of getting a number 9, which is what we all addressed and thought was a problem. I mean, it says it all. The top goal scorer last season was Kai Havertz with 9 goals. Nobody got double figures. Obviously, they had 1 or 2 injuries to key players as well, most notably Saka. So Arsenal's second again last year. They've bought a few. Zubimendi, who I really like, terrific holding player, 51 million from Real Sociedad. Gyökeres, of course, is the 9, 64 million. Noni Madueke from Chelsea for 40-odd million. Norgard and Mosquera as well for not that much money. Jorginho, Partey, Tierney, Tomiyasu and Tavares have gone. Can they go one step closer? One step is all they need to win the title.
It's a hard one because I remember saying last season that I thought Man City would win it if everyone stayed fit. If they get any injuries, them little injuries could be the difference. Bringing in Gyökeres now for Arsenal is massive. And not just because he's a big name forward, because of his movement that we talk about with strikers all the time. So Havertz is really good. We're all big fans of Havertz, but in a number 10 position where he can create, not leading the line. I know he's done really good movement when he plays up there, but he hasn't got a striker's instinct. So that's why I think Gyökeres is going to add something really special. I still don't know if it's enough to get them over the line. I still don't know. I think 1 or 2 injuries and they're back to same as last season. So I'm going to say challenging, but not champions.
I'd agree. I think they'll challenge. I just think they may fall short again. I like all of their signings. I think that's exactly what they needed. And I still don't think they may be finished yet in terms of bringing players in and certainly players going out. I've definitely got them in Champions League, but I just don't see them having enough to win the title. Just fall short.
I think I concur with both of you on that front. I probably wouldn't have said that if it wasn't that Liverpool have strengthened so well. And I think we'll come to that. I mean, obviously shortly, because this is Arsenal's moment. But a lot too will depend on how Gyökeres does. Whether he can... I mean, he scored a terrific goal in pre-season, but we all know pre-season is not that important, although it is for a striker in terms of that feeling of hitting the back of the net. So I think a lot will depend on him, but we know he'll get good service, that's for sure. But the one thing they have lacked. So I think they could go close again, but I'm going to agree with both of you. So let's move on to Aston Villa. Unai Emery had a fantastic season last year. They finished 6th. They've still got Ollie Watkins, who scored their top scorer last season with 16. Very quiet in the transfer market, both in and out. Ozcan, they've brought in centre-back from Kasim Passa for 5.8 million. And Kane, Kessler, Hayden has gone to Coventry for 3.5 million. So pretty quiet in the window, but they kept most of their players. So they did pretty well last season. What do we think?
I guess one of the reasons they may have been quiet is are they one of the teams on the brink with the PSR rules and all of that, you know? I don't know, perhaps that's the case. There's been a lot of talk about Watkins. A lot of clubs who need a forward have sort of had him or been discussing them, but obviously still there. Yeah, I think something similar to last year. I think they'll be in and around 6th, 7th, something like that. I don't see them having enough to get into the Champions League spots, but certainly in a Europa place.
This is horrible. We're agreeing on everything so far.
I know, yeah.
I'm sure hopefully it'll change at some point. But yeah, there's no reason to think that they'll slip from where they are. They've got a brilliant coach with great energy that it's certainly you can't see that drifting away. So I would say the same sort of thing, just outside the Champions League spots, but a European place. Micah?
Yeah. Agreed. We all think the same thing.
All right. Well, we'll move on. Let's hope we disagree at some point. Brentford. Brentford's interesting, isn't it? Because, blimey, they've lost Mbumo, they've lost Norgard. Flecken as well has gone to Bayer Leverkusen for 11 million, the goalkeeper. They have brought in players, but unproven. Malamba, although I do like Kelleher in goal. I think he's been brilliant. Whenever Alisson's been injured at Liverpool, and they brought in Michael Coyote. But it looks like they might lose Visser as well. And a new coach, unproven, of course, because he was the set pieces coach, wasn't he?
I think the new manager, I think he'll be really good. However, if you rip up the squad like it's been ripped up, you lose the manager at the helm with so much experience and everyone knows what they're doing. They have to be in the relegation battle for me because they're starting over brand new. You can always change players if the manager stays the same, but you can't change players and managers at the same time. It's just going to be difficult. And I think Keith Andrews, he's a really good manager as well. Every time I've seen him on the pitch, every time I speak to him, every time he explains situations, the way he gets his message across is really good. But I think there's too much change. He's been given too much to do too soon. If he was keeping the likes of Visser and Wemo and so on, I think he'd be fine. The fact that he's not, I think he's going to find it tough.
I've got them in a relegation battle as well. I think when you're losing that many goals, and I think it looks as if, I don't know, the Wisser situation similar to the Isak one, isn't it? At Newcastle, when you're losing that many goals, I think if they lose him and of course and Bumo, then and new manager coming, I think it's a massive ask. I think so. I've got them in a relegation battle, but I think they'll have enough just to stay up. But I think they will struggle.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for them. Let's move on to Brighton, where we've got obviously Hertzler. They were up and down last season, but still finished in the top half. Who've they brought in? Charalampos Kostoulas, the magnificently named player from Olympiacos for nearly 30 million. Maxim de Kuiper from Bruges for 17. And Tom Watson, Sunderland, 10 million quid. But they've lost Pedro, of course, João Pedro, big loss. Estepinian as well has gone to AC Milan, and Dingra to Sunderland. So I think they're a little bit lower than last season, but I still think mid-table.
The vast majority of the time, you've got to tip your hat to them, haven't you, in terms of recruitment. So you've got to put the belief in who they're bringing in, because more often than not, they have got that side of things right. Yeah, in and around mid-table, I think so. I don't see them having enough to get into maybe a European spot, but in and around mid-table for Brighton.
Where did they finish last year, guys? Again, exactly.
Last year they finished 8th.
Yeah, I think a little bit lower than that. 8th was a really good season last season. I like the signings though. who they've brought in. I've watched clips of some of them, especially the Kuiper. Is it the Cooper or the Kuiper? How do you pronounce that, guys?
I don't know. I mean, Maxim de Kuiper.
The Kuiper. Yeah, energetic. Honestly, you'll be impressed with him, lads. I don't think it's going to be very difficult to I'm going to say bottom half this year. I'm going to say bottom half.
I think they'll be pretty much where they were last year. Okay, let's go. Burnley. Up and down, yo-yo in the last few seasons, obviously. Scott Parker did an amazing job last season. Finished second, just missed out on the title. Josh Brownhill scored top scorer. They've brought a lot of players in, which the promoted clubs obviously need to do. Chuana from Lazio for 12 million. Bashir Humphries from Chelsea, 10 million. Marcus Edwards Sporting from 8.4. Jayden Anthony from Bournemouth for 8 million. Kyle Walker, interestingly, from Man City for 5 million. And Hartman and Twanzebe on undisclosed fees. But they've lost their goalkeeper. So many clean sheets last season. Can they stay up?
If they do, they might as well give him manager of the season already, because it'll be a miracle if they stay up. I know they were super tight last year, giving nothing away, but I think it's going to be very, very, as it always is for any team that's been promoted, it's going to be very difficult for them, and I've got them in it being relegated, I'm afraid.
Well, the last two seasons, the three promoted clubs have gone straight back down. With that, hopefully that will change. I think possibly Burnley are the most likely of the three to, I don't know, or Leeds. Leeds or Burnley. Well, sorry, Mike, I'm not going to try and set you back. But if they can be as difficult to break down as they were last season in the Championship, and I know it's a massive if, because it's a big difference in quality, that will give a team a chance. If you can defend and stay in games, you can nick points. I still think they're in my relegated bunch, but I think they of the three might be the ones that don't go down. I
think they're staying up, guys. I think they're staying up purely based on their defensive structure. I mean, losing Trafford was massive. We know that.
Yeah.
But if you actually watch Burnley in the Championship, they would nick a goal and then bank in. I think Alan makes a good point. I don't know if they can score enough goals. That's my one worry. But we've seen it with Everton time and time again where they just battle the way through. They end up like Beto comes alive at some stage, McNeil does something, or I just think with the structure and the manager, I think they've got a real good opportunity. I think just because they can bank up, and I think teams are finding it a lot harder now to break teams down and getting caught on the counter-attack. So I'm going to say survive, Burnley.
Finally, so we've had a difference of opinion. Finally. Let's see if we have a different opinion on Chelsea. Obviously, Enzo Maresco's done a fabulous job there, finished fourth last season. The Club World Cup champions, which was an amazing, they've brought in as they do every year. Delap for 30 million, João Pedro for 60, Jamie Gittins from Dortmund for 51 million, Esteval from Palmeiras, the youngster, who looks a little bit special for 49 million, and Jorel Hatto from Ajax as well for 38 million. They've let a few go. But I definitely think Champions League places, they could be the team that goes maybe close, very close to the title.
You mentioned all those. I mean, they've lost Levi Colville, haven't they? Because I think he did his knee, hasn't he, unfortunately? So I guess they'll be in the transfer market again to bring in
they have
someone,
got a lot of central defenders,
else.
Though, Al. They've bought in a few as well. So
I'd be amazed if they're finished in the transfer window. You know what Chelsea are like. But I've got them Champions League, definitely, but I don't see them having enough to get to the title.
Maresca has said he wants another central defender in, so it'll be interesting to see if they get one before the start of the season.
Chelsea are a good team now. I think challenging. I just think defensively, they've got so much attacking players. At times, they do overcommit, leave themselves exposed. If they bring in a top centre-half, I think they can challenge till the last 5 games of the season. It's just, I look at the other teams around them, I think they're better defensively, and I think that's the only thing that's going to stop them from going and winning it. But if you watch them in the Club World Cup, they was excellent. especially in that final against PSG. We was all thinking PSG was going to take that home, but the ability to go from back to front so quick is going to catch teams off guard. And it's not only Cole Palmer who's a real... Look at João Pedro, the way he links up, and they've got options like Delap as well, and they've got pace on the wing. Yeah, I think they're challenging.
So you don't see them winning the title then?
Just miss out, Al.
Yeah, I think
miss out.
I think they'll finish higher than they did last season, and that was fourth. But I'm not sure they'll win the title. On to Crystal Palace, who could be the team that perhaps Chelsea poach a central defender from if they go for Mark Gay. That would be a good fit for them, I think. Apologies, Palace fans. Obviously, brilliant season for them last year. Finished just below halfway in 12th. Mateta, the top scorer with 14 goals. At the moment, they haven't lost any of the big name players that was a fear for all their fans. They've not really brought anyone in either, apart from Benitez and Borna Sosa, but that's 3 million quid for the two of them, different clubs. But I think if they can keep those players, I suspect one or two will possibly be poached before the transfer window closes. But if they don't, then they could, I think, for the first time in their history, finish in the top half.
They've got a big decision to make. I think, am I right in saying, Gay, he's got 1 year left? So, I mean, the money they're talking about with him, they've got to make a decision on him, whether he goes, and he'll have options. Obviously, Chelsea, I guess, will be one because of the injury. Liverpool, Newcastle. Although, judging by Newcastle's window, they'll probably miss out on him if someone else again.
Oh dear.
I've got them in and around where they finished last season, I think. I mean, they had an amazing season, obviously, didn't they, winning the FA Cup? The
only thing I think we have to perhaps bear in mind, Micah, is they've got to cope with European football. We don't know which competition as of yet, because obviously they're appealing against being pushed down into the conference and where they'd have to qualify. But they'll have to cope with the extra amount of fixtures for their first time ever. And that might be difficult, particularly if they lose one or two more players.
Yeah, agreed. I think if the decision is that they do go into Europe, then I think it'll be similar sort of position or just below. I don't think they'll be better if they've got to deal with all them games. There's too many games. And when you play in the Europa League or a Conference League, and it's what you're playing on a Thursday and then you're playing on a Sunday, for some reason, mentally, your brain's wired to play on a Saturday and Sunday. I don't know. And then knowing that you've got a game again, I just think they could struggle with strength in depth if they're going to Europe.
I think mid-table. Everyone, mid-table.
Yeah, same as before.
Yeah. Same as
just
last
a little
season,
bit less. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Everton, a miraculous job that David Moyes did when he took over last season. They eventually finished 13th. Undai was the top scorer with 9. Who have they brought in? Carlos Alcaraz from Flamengo for 12 million. He was on loan last year, of course. That's not the tennis player, I hasten to add. Tierno Barry, who's an interesting one, from Villarreal for 27 million. Adam Asnu from Bayern Munich for 10. And Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, former Leicester man, of course, who didn't really play much football at Chelsea last season. They've got him for 25 million. That could be a very good buy. He was excellent for Leicester. So where do we think Everton? I think mid-table again.
Micah could give us a bit of a scoop here, couldn't he, with his mate? Would your mate end up with Everton, Micah? Jack Grealish?
Oh, yes. He's been heavily linked, hasn't he? What do you think, Micah?
Yeah. Come on, Micah. Give us some news. Do you know anything?
I think that Everton will be just fine. I think the players that they're being linked with, I think the manager who we've worked with many times, he knows exactly what he's doing. I think he's adapted to the way the new school football is played, but still has his principles. So I think Everton will be fine. I've heard that the Grealish news is real. And if they get Grealish, I think he'll be devastating. So I'm going to say top 10 for Everton.
Yeah, I think he's. I mean, we love Moisey, don't we? I think he's a great manager. Yeah, he did a great job, and I think he'll continue to do that. And they'll bring in more players in between now and the end of the window, and Everton will be fine. Yeah, I've got in and around mid-table, I think.
Well, yeah. They need Beto to continue that form that he was on towards the end of last season. You just look at Everton, you always think, where's the goals going to come from? And Dye, obviously, top goal scorer last season. But if Beto can get going, they'll be fine.
Yeah, okay. Well, they've let a couple go. Decore I was a bit surprised about. Neil Mopé, I'm not surprised because he was slagging the club off when he was on loan. He's gone to Marseille. So, I think mid-table for Everton.
Don't forget new stadium as well.
Oh,
so a new buzz. Yeah.
That will be a buzz. Looking forward to visiting there at some point. Fulham, Marco Silva, manager, of course, did really well last season to finish 11th. Raul Jimenez was the top scorer with 12. Very little action in the transfer window, whether that's for PSR reasons or not, I don't know. Benjamin Lecomte is the only player that bought in from Montpellier for £500,000. And Vinicius has been released, and Willian as well, who's getting on a bit now, but he's gone as well. So quiet window. So same sort of squad as last season. Similar position.
I don't see them doing as well as they did last year. I've got them, I don't know, maybe 6th bottom, something like that. I think they'll have too much to be in a relegation battle, but I'd see them just below what they did last season.
I'd agree, and their media person has stopped them using Snapchat, where you used to get all the insight of the videos and all that sort of stuff. Great for chemistry in a dressing room.
What the fuck has that got to do with the prediction, by the way?
Everything else, Alan, I'm telling you. They can't do the videos no more. They're going to be going in there. It's going to be silent. There's going to be no banter flying, you know what I mean? So it could affect them. So I'm going to say just below where they finished last season.
No Snapchat, so they're going to be below what they did last season. That's the reason.
Okay.
That's the reason, mate.
Well, there's too much crap chat and not enough Snapchat. So let's take a little breather as we're 10 teams in, and we'll discuss the other 10 teams when we come back. Welcome back to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. We're going through the 20 Premier League clubs and doing that awful thing where we have to predict who's going to... Well, it's not so awful predicting who's going to win. It's always awful predicting who's going to go down.
Who won last year, by the way? You got the most predictions correct.
Me.
Was it?
I don't... He would claim it anyway, so... We'll have to look at that. I can't remember. So we're on to Leeds United, another one of the promoted clubs, of course. They won the Championship last season, just picked Burnley at the end. Are you going to sing your customary song here, Mike?
Marching on together.
It's like a theme tune.
Come on, Leeds!
They brought a few players in. Goodmanson from Lille for 10 million. Lucas Perry from Lyon for 15. Anton Stack, great name. Hoffenheim for 17 million. Sean Longstaff, friend of the pod, Alan, was a guest on here, wasn't he, a year or so ago. From Newcastle for 15 million. And Jadon Lienu from Manchester City. So how do you think one of your many teams are going to get on?
I have 2 thoughts on Leeds. They play some really nice football. They have got money to spend. I really like the manager, Daniel Farke. Probably more because he rents my flat in Harrogate.
You don't give a fuck about his football, do you?
But they are very entertaining. I think at times last season, they played so well. They was always in games and then they would concede. And then towards the end of last season, they had Meslier, who was in net, who I still really rate. But they had to drop him. He made a few mistakes late doors. They brought in Darlow just to steady the ship. They got over the line, but they got some really good players. They've got a player called Tanaka in midfield who really is good on the ball, gets them playing. They bought that was it Stack, I think his name was, who scored in pre-season the other day.
Been stacking them up.
They have really high energy. Yeah. Really high energy with quality. Sometimes on transition, they can be quite naive and they can get punished. But in terms of the overall squad, Ellen Road will play a massive factor. We've all been to that ground and it is electric. It really is bouncing. You can't get any tickets there. They're literally sold out every week. And I think that could play a massive part in them staying up. So I'm going to say they're going to find it hard at times. but I think they've got enough quality to stay up. So I'm going to say just avoid relegation.
I've got to see who's going down for you, Micah, because that's interesting. That's term for you promoted clubs staying up. Out.
I think out of the promoted clubs, I think Leeds will have the best chance of staying up. I think all of those reasons that Mike has said, particularly the Ellen Road factor, I think it'll be absolutely bouncing there, and that could play a big part in them. So if there's any one of the three can stay up, I think it's them. But they're going to be in a relegation battle.
Relegation battle or actually in the relegation?
I've probably got them relegation just, but if there's one can stay up, I think it'll be them.
I think they'll probably go back down, but and Micah will lose his lease. His rental. Liverpool, blimey, what a window they've had. Obviously, they won the league last year. Mo Salah had a remarkable season, 29 goals. This is who they've brought in. I'm sure you all know, but Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen for 29 million. Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen for 100 mil. Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth for 40 million. And Hugo Ekitike, I've got it now. Eintracht Frankfurt. It's 2 Ks, isn't it? And 1 T rather than 2 Ts and 1 K. And he was nearly 70 million as well. We've lost Diaz, Trent, big loss. Keller has gone to Brentford, as we've mentioned, and Gerald Quansah has gone to Bayer Leverkusen. It's hard to go against they won the league so comfortably last season, and they look a stronger squad now. I think they'll miss Trent because of his creativity. But that aside, I mean, Frimpong is a different kind of player to Trent, but he marches up and down the touchline. Kerkez I really like. I think they're going to win it again. Anyone differ?
No, I'm with you. And I don't think they'll be finishing the window as well. I think they'll still look for a player or two. So, yeah, I'm with you. I've got them for the title.
What's happening with Isak, Al?
I don't know. I mean, did you hear Eddie's interview after the game that they had yesterday, saying it's completely out of his hands?
Yeah, I suspect he's going to go to Liverpool. If Liverpool do get Isak, I mean, crikey, they'll take some stopping.
Yeah, it's finished.
If they were to get him, the options they'd have up top would just be incredible. So it'd be impossible to stop if they got Isak, I think.
Anyway, Micah, is it Liverpool for you?
Yeah, with Liverpool. I have to go with Liverpool. Bringing in Wirtz, people don't understand how good this player is.
Yeah,
good player. Yeah.
He's been good in pre-season as well. I think he's exactly what they needed. I think whereas Szoboszlai is more of a runner, third-man runner into the box, and he can shoot. And he's good on the ball as well, but Wirtz can dictate the play in tight areas. Yeah, if you watch him around the box, it's little one-touch, two-touch passes, cute passes around the corner. I just think they're going to be unstoppable at times. If he gets up to speed straight away in the Premier League, because let's be honest, coming to the Premier League is different to the Bundesliga. Yes, it's fast and furious over there, but it's a lot more physical. But I think he's got all the tools to unlock all the doors. So, yeah, I have to say Liverpool will win it.
Yeah, which will upset your Manchester City fans, Micah, which takes us straight on to them. Obviously had the disappointment last season, didn't happen for them. Lost Rodri at the start of the season. Looks like he's sustained another serious injury, which is such a shame. Haaland, well, it's going to say he only got 22 goals last season in the league. But they've bought a few in. Reinders from Milan for 46 million. Ryan Cherky, of course, from Lyon for 34. Ait Nouri from Wolves, 31 million. And James Trafford, whether he'll start or maybe it's a long-term plan for him. Got him from Burnley. De Bruyne is gone, of course. We'll miss Kevin in the Premier League. And Jan Couto to Borussia Dortmund for 25 million. Can City and Pep challenge again? I mean, it seems ridiculous that we're all so confident that Liverpool are going to do it when he's won most of the leagues he's been in, but they have got to find a way of getting back to the side that they were.
I think if Rodri was fit, I would say it'd be a race to the end. I just think losing Rodri is massive. So the way Reinders plays, he can play a little bit deeper, but he can also play a little bit further forward. In pre-season, he scored another 2 goals the other day. He was really good in the Club World Cup as well. I just think that protection on the transition that we constantly talk about, Rodri was the master at that. And if Rodri was fit, I would say probably Man City win the league for me. The balance of the whole team is better when Rodri's in there. They've got Nico Gonzalez, who did all right in spells when they brought him in January, but it's not the same. If Rodri was fit, I would say City, but he's going to miss the start of the season. So, to get claw back them points against Liverpool, who have just got so much options, I think it's going to be difficult. But if you look at City, sometimes the way they play and teams go into that low block or whatever, a guy like Shirky can unlock that door. So I'm not worried about them attacking wise. And Haaland looks sharp. He looks fit in pre-season. It's just, again, on the transition I'm worried about. It's the only thing I worry about with Man City.
Yeah, I think Arsenal, Chelsea and City will all be playing for second place. I mean, by their ridiculously high standards, Man City, I don't know, last season was really poor, but they'll be better, but I'm not sure they'll have enough.
Yeah, I agree. On to Manchester United. They're going to be a really interesting season for them. Obviously a horror season last year. Ruben Amorim, they finished 15th. They've brought some players in though. Matheus Cunha from Wolves, 62 million. That was done for quite a while ago. Brian Mbeumo as well from Brentford, who scored 20 goals last season in the Premier League. Sesko has now completed his signing from Leipzig. Obviously lost one or two of the old guard, Christian Eriksen's, Johnny Evans, and Lindelof's been released, and Marcus Rashford's gone on loan to Barcelona. This is a good point where I can mention that we're off to Barcelona actually tomorrow to interview Marcus. He's not done a long interview for a long time, and I can't wait to sit down with him. Micah, you're going to pop over as well. So
should be brilliant.
Be great to see him out there. The second man to play for Barcelona post the war. I can't remember who the other one was. So anyway, that pod will be with you on Wednesday. Look out for that. Manchester United, I mean, they have brought, there's 3 players in. We don't know how good Sesko is going to be in the Premier League. I think he scored, 13 goals last season. Mid-table, I see mid-table. They need to improve on last season. So I think to get into Europe, I mean, it seems ridiculous to say this about Manchester United, doesn't it? To get into any kind of European football next season would be probably a bonus.
I mean, clearly they'll improve on last season. They can't be as bad. Yeah, they've made a couple of really good signings, but yeah, I think 7th, 8th, 9th, something like that.
I thought so.
I think better than that.
Do you?
I look at their squad now, and they'd be linked with Belieber as well. If they can get Belieber,
that would make a difference because he's got the legs that they need in that kind of.
Correct. The only problem I have though, guys, is still the formation. So in the pre-season friendly the other day against Fiorentina, they went with, I think it was Mount up top as like a false 9, and Mbeumo to the right, and Cunha sort of to the left. Fernandes and Casemiro in midfield. They had Dorgu one side and Diallo the other side. And I just think the formation is really hindering them. I think if they was playing a 4-3-3, I think they could be challenging for Europa League, but it's not going to change. So when you watch the clips and everything, and Fernandes is a little bit further back. So they need Fernandes because he's the one who wants to get on the ball and get him ticking and all that. But then they miss him a bit further forward, creating opportunities. And then you've got Mbeumo who does loads of his work, or his best work, out wide, but he's sort of in a number 10 position. Cunha works, no problem. He can go from the left, he can go in the number 10 position. It really works. But I just think the balance of the team is not right for the players that they have. I think 4-3-3 would suit them so well. And I think their fixtures, the first 5 fixtures, look really hard for United as well. And it's just whether that negativity creeps in. It shouldn't. They've got a new training ground. They've had refurb. They've got some new players. Looked like there was reports that they didn't be able to spend any money in the transfer window before the sold. So to get Cunha, Mbeumo and Sesko in, it's amazing for them. It's just whether they can all play together.
Where do you see them finishing then?
You got a European spot or mid-table? We're going mid-table, me and Al, I think, aren't we?
7, 8, 9 for me, yeah.
I'm going to say top 6.
So Europe.
Yeah, I'm going to say Europe, yeah.
All right, nice one. Do you want to skip the next team, Alan?
Disaster pre-season.
Newcastle United.
Honestly.
Go on. Rant away.
Where do I start, Gaz? Where do I start? Pre-season, as far as I can remember, I don't think they've won a game. All the talk has been about Isak.
One win.
Well, I can't remember that one win, but there you go. Yeah, it's been a disaster for them. It really has. After what should have been, I thought, was time for Newcastle to kick on. After winning the trophy, after getting into Champions League football, it was the time to go out and bring in 3 or 4 big players, and I thought that was going to happen. But for whatever reason, I've said about the chief executive and the sporting director, I think it's nonsense that they haven't had those in, and whether that's hampered them or not, I guess it has. But they need to sort the situation out as quick as possible with Isak, and I guess he stays until they get someone in, and Eddie can maybe talk him around. If that isn't possible, then they've just got to get they've got to get players. They needed a forward anyway, so they need 2 centre forwards.
They've got Alanga from Forest for 55 million. Obviously, they've lost Callum Wilson. Sean Longstaff's gone as well, and Lloyd Kelly. So
it's just a wait and see for Newcastle, I think. It's a tough start. They've got Villa away, Liverpool at home, and the pre-season's been a nightmare. I think the next... ask me again in 3 or 4 weeks if at the end of the window, I guess. So
it's not how it works, Al.
It's not how it works. You got to do it now. I'm going to go mid-table.
Oh, you're mid-table? We're going that far down, are we?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, Al.
Gordon limped off, didn't he? Gordon limped off.
Not too serious, I'm told, yeah. But
is it not too serious? Okay.
I've got them 5th, 6th.
If they bring in a decent striker, Alan, I think, European spot. But otherwise, I think they'll struggle. Micah?
Yes, I've got Newcastle about 8th or 9th at this moment in time without Isak. If Isak stays, a little bit better than that.
Okay. On to Nottingham Forest. Brilliant season, obviously, last season. It's going to be really hard for them to do that again. They've got to play European football. Chris Wood had the season of his life, didn't he? Banged in 20 goals. Who have they brought in? Igor Jesus. So actually, for Botafogo, who was really good in the Club World Cup, wasn't he? Played really well, I thought. Jai Cunha also from Botafogo, and Dan Ndoye from Bologna for 34 million as well. They've lost Alanga, nearly lost Morgan Gibbs-White, but in the end he didn't go to Tottenham. So personally, I think Forest I think it'd be very difficult for them with European football as well to do as well as they did last season. So I think they could challenge again for a European spot, but I suspect it'd be more like mid-table.
Me too. I'm the same, in and around mid-table, I think, yeah.
You was really impressed with Ndoye. Do you remember him, Alan, at the Euros?
Yeah.
He looks like a good player. He can play anywhere in the attack. He can play wing-back as well, can't he? So he should help them going forward. But I think the season they had last season was just so incredible for them as a club. It's going to be hard to replicate that. So, yeah, mid-table for me.
Yeah. Okay. Sunderland. They came up via the playoffs, of course, with Regis Lebris. Finished actually 4th, didn't they, in the Championship last season. But they've had a real go in the transfer market, as you have to do to possibly compete. Enzo Laffi for a fee of 19 million. Habib Diarra from Strasbourg for 30. Noah Sadiki from Union SG for 17. Chemsidine Taibi from Club Brugge for 19.5 million. Simon Adingra from Brighton for 20. And Granit Xhaka, a bit of experience from Bayer Leverkusen for 17 million. They've lost Joe Bellingham, of course, Jude's brother. He's gone to Borussia Dortmund, follow his brother. And Tom Watson have lost to Brighton for 10 million quid. So
they've had a go, haven't they?
They've had a real go. I suppose the big question is, will they finish above Newcastle?
Shut up, you idiot.
Got a little nibble there, just a little nibble. No, I mean, yeah, it's going to be tough for them, obviously, but how are they going to do?
Same as the other promoted teams, I think they'll struggle, and it'll be really tough for them. So I've got them being relegated again.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, relegated only because they're bringing in so many players in such a short period of time to get them to gel and know exactly what they're doing. I think they've had a right go, fair play to them, but yeah, I think it might just be too much for them. So I've got them going down, unfortunately.
Okay, let's move on to the mighty Spurs. Thomas Frank obviously has got that role. I would imagine that he's quite confident finishing above where they did last year, which was 17th. And who've they brought in? They've brought in Mohamed Kudus, of course, from West Ham for 55 million. João Palhinha from Bayern Munich with a loan option to buy. Kevin Danso from Lens for 21 million. And Matthias Tell, who was on loan, of course, last season anyway from Bayern Munich, but they bought him for 29 million. Unfortunately, they lost Maddison. Big injury. Kulusevski's injured as well. So problems in that sense. But I'd sense an improvement will happen this season. I think they'll be well organised, probably play slightly differently to they did under Big Ange, and a big improvement incoming. I think European spots what I'm going to go for.
Do you? That far, do you?
Well, I like Spurs, and it's one of my former clubs.
That's a big ask to go from 17th to qualifying for Europe, isn't it? In terms of getting in top 6, isn't it? It's a big one. I see them obviously improving, but I don't see that much improvement. I've got them like Man United, 7, 8, 9, something like that.
Yeah, top 6 for me, Spurs, top 6.
Really?
You've got a lot of teams in the top 6, Micah. I think you've got a lot of teams going. I don't know. We'll have to check this at the end.
But Chelsea, Man City, Man U was on the cusp.
Man U, you said
on the cusp.
On the cusp. Okay. We just need to clear this up because if you've got 8 teams in the top 6, you're going to struggle. Well, obviously, it's a jump into the unknown a little bit for Tottenham because they're going to be changing a different style of football from Ange Postecoglou's. So it will be fascinating to see how they do. I've got a lot of time for Thomas Frank, and I think he's going to do good things. Anyway, West Ham, Graham Potter, of course, he came in, didn't he, halfway through the season. Didn't see much change. Jared Bowen's top scorer, he's still there. Who have they brought in? Jean-Claire Todibo from Nice for 36 million. Mads Hermansen's just been agreed. That's Leicester's goalkeeper, 20 million. I think we all knew we'd lose him. He's a top goalkeeper. El Hadj Malik Diouf from Slavia Prague for 19 million. Callum Wilson and Kyle Walker-Peters on frees. And they've lost Kudus, of course. I suppose what would their aim be, really? Just an improvement top half? Their position last season was 14th. I think they'll do a little bit better than that. I think somewhere between 10th and 14th, I think.
Could be a tough season for West Ham, I think, but I don't see them finishing much higher than that.
Yeah. Are you surprised, perhaps, that no one's gone in for Jared Bowen? Or?
Yeah, it's a good... Well, he was linked with Liverpool a couple of seasons ago, wasn't he? And that didn't happen, and then he sort of just... He's captain, though, there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very much West Ham, isn't he? So
yeah.
So how do you think they'll do, Micah?
I think exact same as last season. I think they can score, can't really defend at times, can they? It's too easy to score against them. But the manager's got a full pre-season underneath his belt now, see what he can do. But I think they're a little bit too easy to play against. So, yeah, I think around the same position as last season.
Okay, Wolverhampton Wanderers, the last of our 20 teams, obviously revitalised, weren't they, halfway through the season when Vitor Pereira took over and ended up getting them out of the relegation zone, finished in 16th. They've lost their top scorer, Mateus Cunha. Transfers that have come in, Jorgen Strand Larsen, who was there, of course, already, but he was on loan. They've now bought him for 25 million. Ismail Saibari from PSV for 18 million and Wesley Casaba from Corinthians for 12 million. But they've lost 2 of their stars, Cunha I've mentioned, and Ryan Aït-Nouri has gone to Manchester City. I think it's going to be a tough season for Wolves, a relegation battle again. I think the promoted 3 clubs could all go. If I did say if one stays up, it'll be Burnley, and I think if it is, it'll be the expense of possibly Wolves or maybe Brentford. Thoughts?
Yeah, I wouldn't put too much of an argument against that. I think they'll have enough to stay up, though. I do think the 3 that come up will go, and Wolves will just have enough. But yeah, just above that, I think.
Wolves. I mean, they dealt without Cunha. You know, when he had his red cards and whatnot, Strand Larsen stepped up massively. It's different being, I don't know, the main man and the guy that comes in for the main man. I think it's going to be a tough season for Wolves. One week you watch them and you think they've got the combinations. I really like the manager and how confident he is and what he says. I don't know if the players are good enough to do what he wants to do. I think they do it in little patches, but I think they struggle. I think it's going to be a relegation battle for Wolves this year.
Have you got them going down, Micah? Because at the moment you've got two of the promoted clubs staying up. So who is your bottom three? Don't think you're going to get away with not naming any relegated clubs.
You beat me to it, guys. Exactly what I was going to ask you. We said who you think are going down, the three that came up. Tell us, Micah, because I'm
Who's going
confused
down?
as well.
Who's your three going down, Mike? Don't think you're going to wriggle out of doing this. I know your game.
I'm going down the list. I'm thinking, bloody hell. I've gone early with Burnley. I've gone early with
Leeds.
And Leeds are staying up. Burnley, I worry about a little bit going forward, not defensively. Wolves I worry about, and Sunderland. Those are my three that I worry about the most this season.
Ooh.
Okay, we'll take those three. That's it. We'll see how we progress as the season goes on. But before we bid you farewell, a quick reminder of that Marcus Rashford interview that'll be out on Wednesday. Really looking forward to seeing Marcus in Barcelona. And I'll see you there, Micah. I know, Alan, you've on a little golfy trip there.
Yeah, I didn't get the invite. That's how it is, isn't it? I didn't get the invite, mate.
Have a lovely trip, guys. Yeah, that'll be fascinating to see what Marcus has got to say.
What we're going to do, though, guys? Are we going real deep into it, or what? How are we doing the interview? What?
Well, we'll ask questions and hopefully he'll answer them. That's how the interview works, Micah.
Guys, make sure he doesn't lead you astray in Barcelona tomorrow night. That's all that you need to worry about.
Well,
I can't. I'm flying straight back.
He's got to go.
He's
busy. You know how busy he is. No, he's had his long holiday. Okay, no, I think it'll be really fascinating. Not really heard Marcus talk at any length for quite some time. So, yeah, let's see what he's got to say. But for now, that's it. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a great week, everyone.